Everyone's like, oh, look, here comes Pensy Joe bringing the Pennsylvania stuff because really test LED in the headlight, but we'll take this quite well by all. Regular combination, she's all that Sheet at 10. Proceed to 15. Hey everybody, this is Pensy Joe back again for another video, another Train Talks video. And in this video, we're going to talk about why Atlas is the best DCC ready, affordable / reliable models you can buy used on eBay or any other site than everybody else, and why I personally think about it as well. Well, to get further ado, let's start with what era the models that you'll be usually looking at that are rather affordable. And as you can see, we have Trainmaster, FM Trainmaster. We got an SD35 and an Alco 425, C425. So, and we also got an HH or Baby Trainmaster. It's pretty much the Baby Trainmaster. So these engines are from the hippie era. They're Gen 2 diesels. Some of them are starting getting close to the Gen 3 era. The road switchers were pretty much the starting of the Gen 2 stuff, and pretty much mid-Gen 2 to Gen 3. And then this is pretty much in the late 60s, right over here on my right hand with the SD35 and Alco C425. So that's pretty much the normal. I mean, you'll get some GP40s. I think there's some GP50s and GP60s that are in this Atlas class of line. We're looking at the Atlas Master Locomotive Series. And you got the Silver Series, and I'm pretty sure there's a Gold Series as well. There's also the Atlas Classic line, which is where the C425 is actually in. They're actually very reliable models. I don't know every single model that are in the Classic line. I know there's an RS11. There is a couple RS locomotives as well that are in the Classic line that you can get. There's also a great variety of Atlas Master Locomotive stuff. So this is the one that has that NCE decoder, I think. You have to ask your Matler. It has an NCE decoder. So this is when they had those bulletproof NCE decoders that are considered legendary to a lot of people who know about model locomotives and model trains for a while on HO scale. And I mean, my club uses them specifically for fair operations. So most of the stuff that we run during the fair, normally with the club equipment, are all silent. They usually have some sort of NCE decoder running these models that they run there. They do have some C425s running. I think there's CSX models that we have at the club that are C425s. We have a number of Atlas models. I haven't seen a lot of SD35s. We do not have any Train Masters, and we don't have any Baby Masters as well. So I can't really say why we don't see any FM Train Masters. Probably because we don't really have a lot of FM Fairbanks and Morris stuff for the southeastern region. Which is interesting because there were some southern Fairbanks and Morris models, but we don't really normally run southern. But anyways, that's besides the point. Why do I consider these the best that you can buy? And it's fairly simple. I mean, I don't know why. That's pretty much it. I don't know why. They don't seem to be, I guess, as popular as modern diesels or anything else. I mean, there's so many GP40s, especially used ones, that are like $100 or less that are with the DCC equipped with this kind of box. And usually has a green label that says Atlas Master DCC system. I've seen models that have that, and they go for like $100 or less. Some people go more. You can find a better deal. Same thing with the silver. Now, I got this recently, which is this Trainmaster here. It does come with the end grab irons in the front and rear. They're just in the packaged baggie below the foam packaging that protects the model. And it's a fairly nice model. I mean, at some point, I'd like to start doing reviews on these Atlas models. Unfortunately, they're eventually all going to have TCS WOW at some point. This already does. This has a TCS WOW decoder. I'm not sure what type of decoder. I don't know if it's like a hardwired one or if it's like a plug-in, or if it's like a swap decoder that fits with this model and has a 21-pin decoder with obviously keep lives on the motherboard. And I'm not sure if it has that. So I only have one. I'd like to get more of these. That already tells you already that I really like these Atlas locomotive, the Atlas Master line stuff. I really think they are hidden gems. And some people are like, well, I already know about this. I have a whole bunch of these. That's good. And you always know you can get a lot more because these are fairly cheap. And at the same time, they are fairly reliable. I haven't heard any negative things about these. My club, again, runs some C425s, and they run really great. I mean, parts galore because, they're fairly cheap. These were very mass-produced. And, these are definitely models that I would like to mass, especially the Trainmaster. Back in the 60s, 70s, it's pretty much around the era when they had 6 or 7 locomotive lash ups. So, unfortunately, I think I've only seen 2 other numbers from the Atlas Classic line with the C425s. I'd like to get to 2416, and I think there's another one that how you know which ones, if they don't come with boxes, let's say you go to a train show, right? And you want to look for Atlas Master, Atlas Classic, or Atlas Master Silver Series, check inside. They usually have better details than the earlier Atlas models, and not just that, they have crew figures inside them. Then you could tell based off of like if they're factory produced. Once you have or own, I would suggest buy one on eBay for like a good deal. And then if you go to train shows locally, you'll be able to spot if somebody like put in like, crew figures or whatnot, and which are actually, put in from the factory. And that's how you can tell that they're from the Atlas Classic red box, black and red box. And then I'm guessing this came later, an Atlas Master. I'm not an Atlas guru, just saying I don't know everything about Atlas. I don't know everything about the history. I do know that they were paired up with Kato at one point. Same thing with Stuart. They had some history with that, and then Atlas went their own way. Obviously, the Atlas Classic and Atlas Master lines were made in China. Love or hate that, it's totally up to you. They pretty much use a lot of clone stuff, and they're still relatively the same reliability in terms of running mechanism and the quality of the materials. So you're not going to really see gear brakes on these models. I think none of these would probably have that issue. So, in terms of like reliability of the drive, the motors I heard are strong. They're pretty good, and I've run this thing a lot. I love this little guy, and this little guy's older than a lot of my models that I have in my collection, and it probably pulled everything and anything from its previous life under its previous owner before I bought it, and it's still chugging along now without an issue. So that just goes to show why I have these. They're still going, they're still running, they're not broken. They keep going. They look nice. Are they the most detailed things in the world? No, but they're still really good. They're not like a freaking Rapido or Atlas Genesis, or no, that was really bad. An Athearn Genesis, or even a Scale Trains model, or Scale Trains machine quality or even the scale trains rivet counter line, But here's the thing, you don't really need that. And if you're a new modeler, if any new modeler is watching this video, I highly recommend getting these as your first models. Which is interesting because a while back when I was back and still living in Florida, my former club president, somebody asked, like, what would be the greatest, DCC compatible model or DCC equipped model that would be great for beginners, and he said Atlas. To be honest, after a while now, I had that thought and conversation still floating in my mind. I'm like, yeah, he's got a point. Now, he's been in the hobby for a very long time. He's been around since the late 80s, mid 90s. I think he started back in the mid 90s when he really started getting into model trains and starting collected ever since. And he's done a lot of kits and all that stuff. Knows a lot about repairing and overhauling engines and whatnot. And I can really take his word for it when he said that Atlas is pretty much one of the best models you can start with, especially stuff from the classic master line and some of the even older ones that came before a classic line, for example. I won't get into those because I haven't gotten any, and I don't plan on getting any. Simply because these have more details and they're still very reliable compared to even compared to the Atlas / Kato days. So yeah, these are really good models. I mean, there's fan details in all of these models except I think the C425 in the rear, the radiator. But the radiators, you can see fan details. I don't know if it's going to show up well, but you can there's a big fan in the Baby Master, and then there's 4 little ones in the FM Train Master, and they look cool. There's fan blade details inside the SD35 as well. So, I mean, for what you get for $100 or less, if you find those, which there's still a lot of them on eBay, go pick them up. But depends on what road you want to get. There's obviously a lot of Pensy stuff, but there's not too many. They pop up and in and out from time to time. And I'm going to start rounding these things up over time and running them in consists. I don't know if they all have the same motor. So I can't really tell if I can, because the last thing I want to do is have to speed match everything, which I know people are like, well, you should do it. And I'm like, well, if I want to get into the technicalities of that so I can have complete compatibility with everything to each other, it's going to take a lot of time. And I do have the time to do that actually. But the problem is that I'm just not motivated to really do it. I got too many things on my mind. So that's a problem. That's a dilemma that I have to live with. So. Yeah, I haven't trained master. I haven't checked what's inside here. I haven't checked to see if there's a decoder or if it's empty. If not, that's great. I can just take the motherboard out and get it. There's a TCS WOW kit for pretty much all of these, except maybe this. But I think there's something that can fit inside here that's compatible with the other models, which is a running familiarization that I'm starting to see when I look at the kits online on eBay that they sell, the TCS WOW kits, especially ones that are for usually sometimes specific Atlas models, they look very similar to other that would fit on something else that has more model compatibility. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll make it work. That's what you do when you do model trains. You make it work, or you make it until it fits, So yeah. I'll probably want to get more Train Masters. I'm already in love with these Atlas Train Masters. I mean, if you want, I mean, look, I know some people don't like Gen 2 era or the 60s and early 70s, but give them a shot. I mean, they're pretty nice. They're pretty nice. I mean, I mostly model 1950s steam era or early 1950s, late 1940s. But my railroad's going to be much like a span over if anybody has seen my video on the history of the Pennsylvania and Atlantic Railroad, I have a video about that, and it explains the alt history, what if history of the Pennsylvania surviving to modern day. And I have some unpainted Walther's mainline ES44s I plan on doing a scheme that's going to look similar to this. I think this is the phase. This is phase 2 or phase 3. See, I know people who model this era are gonna yell at me, so I don't know. But they're gonna look a lot like this with the DGLE, and they're gonna have the Pennsylvania Railroad keystones, pretty much in multiple areas of the locomotive front, rear, maybe 1 or 2 on the sides, or 1 on the side like this SD35, and just have the number, under the cab. Because that's how I believe Pennsylvania would keep doing their locomotives if they kept going and didn't really merge with the New York Central and just survived pretty much through the 70s and 80s. So that's how I envisioned that to be. But yeah, besides that, I highly recommend these. They're very affordable, especially for new models. If you feel like model trains are really expensive, here's the thing. If you don't know what era you're going to go in, start with these guys. Start with the 60s, 70s stuff, locomotives, especially diesels. If you want steam, you're more likely to check out Bachmann's Spectrum stuff with the steam stuff. I heard that stuff's really good, fairly reliable as well. But if you just want to start with trains and you don't really care, and you just want to get into the hobby, start with Atlas Classic and Masterline stuff. Check secondhand, third hand. They're usually like $100 or less. You can find great deals on them. That's how I got all these guys pretty quickly in 1 year. Actually, I got this a while back. These guys are more recent. Actually, these 3 are more recent. So that just goes to show there's still good stuff out there. Some stuff will be a little bit over $100. I'm not sure why. Some people are going to try and extend the range. So I would say between $50 to like $200. I mean, it's a wide range, but you're more likely to see stuff around the $100 range and less. So rest assured. Anywho, that pretty much concludes this short little video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I really wanted to talk about this. It was on my mind. There's a reason why I made a little poll earlier this week about what you think is the best DCC ready or DCC compatible, brand for model trains that are affordable, reliable, and overall have good details. And it's interesting. I found there's a tie between Athearn and Atlas, and I found that interesting. 33% said Atlas and 33% said Athearn. So I might be missing something. I might have to dive into Athearn more. But without further ado, guys, this is Pensy Joe signing out again. And I'll see you guys later on in the next video. Bye.
To the hill and by the shore, hear the mighty rush of the engine, hear the lonesome hobo squall, riding through the jungle on the Wabash Cannonball. Now here's to Daddy Claxton, may his name forever stand, and may he be remembered in the courts throughout the land. When his earthly race is over, let the curtains round him fall. We'll carry him home to victory on the Wabash Cannonball. Oh, listen to the jingle, the rumble, and the roar, as she glides along the woodland to the hill and by the shore. Hear the mighty rush of the engine, hear the lonesome hobo squall, riding through the jungle on the Wabash Cannonball.